There he is.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
John, hi. Good to see you.
Good, good.
Good to talk to you.
Hey, I just did this background. Do my logos look right to you, or are they reversed?
They look great.
They look right.
Okay, good, good.
Well, that's a nice one. So you did that yourself? That's pretty awesome.
I threw it together with paint. It didn't turn out great, but it's the best I could do in about 45 minutes.
What'd you say? The Dairy Queen one?
Yeah, look at the Dairy Queen one. There isn't one. I just wanted him to be like, wait, what?
And I was doing the same thing. Big Oyster Brewery. That's pretty cool.
Does it say Pepsi?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Anyway, that's a nice backdrop. And I guess we could dive right into the sponsors this year. So there's a lot of new stuff happening, right?
Sure. So the big news is really two of them. Big Oyster coming on board. I've been to that brewery and restaurant down in Lewis a number of times. Emily Vacris, director of marketing, local mass racer, mountain biker, someone I've known for a long time. And they reached out, and we are happy to have them. So hopefully they'll be out there pouring at some of the races, some 4-packs and 6-packs on the prize table. So we welcome them.
That's awesome. Former participants are current participants in the series, and then they open the brewery, and then, I love that.
Yeah. And then Shoemaker HVAC, Jacob Shoemaker, another mass racer.
Right.
They're coming on board as a cash sponsor, and they are going to sponsor an end of season cross-country cash payout for pro men and pro women that we will award at finals at Gretna in September.
I read that on the website, and that's awesome too. Wow. That's huge.
Yeah, we've never done that before. It's something I've been looking to add, take it up a notch, and we really appreciate Jacob's sponsorship.
Yeah, so that'll be at the finals.
Yeah, finals back at Grenoble, Saturday, September 3rd this year. We moved it up to Labor Day weekend so we would not overlap Pickles opener out in Gettysburg the following weekend. And we try not to overlap them, and that's a big one for them. So we decided we'd make a move to Labor Day weekend this year.
Good stuff. I like that because there's so many competing things to do all through the year with cycling, right? As we're all finding out. But Labor Day seems to be kind of open, because
it is. And my philosophy has usually been not run on holidays. We won't run Memorial Day. We won't run July 4th. But Labor Day, people are back. Kids are getting back to school. Vacations are done. We used to have that Seven Springs 24-hour race was Labor Day weekend every year. And, that was a mass endurance race. And a lot of people went to that. So we think Labor Day weekend's okay.
So I do too, because here's my logic. I'm thinking that, if I'm not going to want to travel on the traditional holidays, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, because everyone else is going to be traveling. So I'm not going to take my vacation at the shore or my vacation camping or whatever. I'll do it a weekend that's not going to be jam-packed. So then when you offer a race on that weekend, that's a good weekend to stay around the house and come down and race. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I thought it always did. Seven Springs always had a great turnout Labor Day weekend. It's just one of those holidays where you tend not to travel. Vacations are over. School is starting or has started now in most cases. So that's one I don't mind running on.
So let's talk about the schedule. We're getting started this Sunday, right? April 3rd at Rattling.
Yes, we are. Rattling Creek Endurance Race.
I was out prepping for it today. I'm getting scared, like I told you. That's a death march for me.
I know. I saw you on the list, my friend.
So how's this going to go? How's this season going to go? That's the starter, right? Then take us through it. Walk us through it.
So that's the starter. Everything else is pretty much the same. So the following weekend, we have the return of the Intergalactic Global Open relay out at Mike Kuhn's family farm in Marysville. 2-year hiatus because of COVID, and always a great event. So we're looking forward to kicking things off there.
We're going to give away 4 lights to the winning 4-person team as usual. So we're back onto that for that. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Good, great. I know we always see you out there, and that's just a really great way to get people together and really kick things off. It's more of an XC style event. There's solo, 2, 3, and 4-person classes at that one. Short, almost like a World Cup style 3-4 mile course, as many laps as a solo or team can do in I think for 4 hours this year.
I always considered it a rite of passage to the beginning of the off-road season, right? Because it was in spring was in the air, and you were at Coondog's farm, and let the season begin.
Yeah, exactly. And that used to be the opener, and rattling in the relay swapped this year, which makes sense because we're always a little bit iffy weather-wise beginning April, and you can run an endurance race, a solo endurance race, in just about any condition.
Thank you for that.
The relay is a little different. People are standing around, and so we swapped those weekends. And I think
there's nothing but rock up there, so I mean, what could it possibly hurt?
I'll tell you, yeah. I'll be there. I'm timing that race with Ryan, and long range forecast for this weekend looks pretty good.
Okay, good enough. So then we get through the relay. We're all pumped for the season. And then the next week, what happens?
So the next weekend, I think, is Easter this year. I think Easter is that following weekend. And then we open it up with Fair Hill XC endurance race.
Saturday the 23rd. Awesome.
Saturday the 23rd. Yeah. And, we were, even in a COVID year last year, that race was just under 650 people. So that was, we haven't seen those kind of numbers in a long time. I think we discussed that back in the fall, but everybody loves Fair Hill. It's a great course. It's a great way to open the real XC season. So back to Fair Hill.
Excellent. So, so then keep walking us through the schedule.
Let's see. You're going to make me think. So there's a weekend off, which is actually the Fair Hill rain date, last weekend in April. And then
30th. Yeah.
Yeah. And then French Creek on the rocks, Trestle Bridge Racing on the rocks at French Creek. A great race, a great course. I rode it a couple weeks ago. So that's Saturday before Mother's Day. What is that? I have to look at my calendar. I think that is the 7th, right?
Yes.
Yes, that is May 7th. Wow. Yes, it is. So usually they have camping. I don't know if the camping will be open again. That's kind of dependent on the park. But just a great place to ride and race. One of my favorites. So
how's the enduro season shaping up? I saw there was a cancellation or two.
Well, good. Actually, we opened that up May 15th, bringing back the Raven. We have not had the Raven out in State College for a couple of years. Old school, hard, steep, rocky, long transfers. Really just a great enduro and a great way to open the season. 7 Mounts Conservancy Corps guys. Most of that is on their property, their trails that they work on. Yeah, just one of my favorites.
Sounds like a great time. So
it is. You should come out.
There's so much to do. Again, highlights. We're going to Bear Creek and then on June 5th, roughly, for XC, or 6th or something.
We are. And let's see, what else am I missing? We've got Iron Furnace, a standalone endurance race in there. That is that last weekend in April. I don't want to forget those guys. That's way up in North Jersey, another long, rocky standalone endurance race.
Wow, that's a long day up there. right?
That
Especially
is a long day.
so how does that work if Fairhill is postponed?
Well, Iron Furnace is Sunday, Fairhill is Saturday.
Got it.
And it's just the way the cards fall.
Yep. So we're going to be at Bear Creek, and then we're going to be at Bear Creek for the night race again.
We are.
That's always cool. And of course, Lupine Lights is stoked to be there. So we got to discuss how, I wanted to raffle lights or give lights away as prizes, or we got to figure something out how we can do that. But we certainly want to sponsor that race in terms of, Lupine Lights, so on and so forth.
Oh yeah. Always a good time. That's yeah. There's usually a crowd out there when I'm headed off to bed for that one.
So Grenoble is twice, and then the season on Labor Day, which we talked about. And then you got in there, you got Neshaminy going. What are all the ones that we didn't talk about?
Yeah, let me switch screens for a second and run through this so we don't miss anybody. Let's see. Been updating the schedule, trying. So yeah, we open at Rattling, then we have the relay, Fairhill, Iron Furnace, May 1st. On the rocks at French Creek, May 7th. May 15th, we open the enduro season out at the Raven State College. And then we move Iron Hill into May 22nd. They used to run spring. They've been in August. So we bring them back for a spring race.
Nice.
May 22nd, then Bear Creek and the Chamonix, guys, and Chamonix Classic. Cross country June 12th. And then on to the Challenger, George Suckerite, Challenger mountain bike race, XC Endurance, June 18th over Camden County College. In fact, I just saw he posted his course map on the Facebook group today. George is always working hard on his race.
Yep.
And then, we stay in New Jersey. After July 4th, we go Sizzler over in what is now Rowan University. July 10th, Sunday, July 10th, Sizzler. Another good one, a classic, been around forever.
Nice.
Yeah, and then Grenoble, July 16th, Grenoble. And then we take an XC break, and Sunday, July 24th, Southern Tier Enduro up Jones Park near Binghamton, New York. Vestal, actually. Another good one, a very cool area to ride. Really popular. Doubled our attendance there last year. In fact, on the enduro side, every enduro set an attendance record.
That's an important trend, and the downhill scene is rocking too.
It is. It is. Eastern States they've come out with their schedule. They've got a lot of good downhills. There's something going on.
Nico and Logan Mullally down there, and
Windrock just happened. In fact,
Windrock,
they had to postpone or cancel their Saturday because of weather, but they got their enduro in. There were a couple local coal guys I saw on some of the podiums. So at least they got the amateur race in.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah. And then back to late night at Bear Creek, August 5th. That's a good one. Super fun. Great photos.
Yeah.
Too. Need to recognize Mike Anderson and all the first place photo guys that come out and take all these pictures. And when you see guys out there in the woods, those guys travel. They're out there early in the morning until the last race, and we appreciate that. And lots of really great pictures. Most of the pictures you see on my slideshows are from those guys.
Yeah, those guys are good. Agreed, and they especially shine, so to speak, at Bear Creek that night. The shadows and the pictures, a lot of awesome stuff to look at.
Yeah, those were great. The night pictures were great.
Yeah,
from Bear Creek. So August 5th, and then we take a couple weeks off, and then August 20th, Big Elk XC Endurance Race. That's one I run myself. Yeah. August 20th with a rain date of the following weekend.
Nice.
And finals all the way up to finals September 3rd. Grenoble Rewind XC and Endurance Finals at the DuPont Estate. Always a great place to be. Pretty local for me. Brandywine right across the street, right across the river. And love love to go to Grenoble. We always, a couple of friends and I always go down for the pre-rides, and yeah, a lot of memories all the way back to the 90s at Grenoble.
Yes.
My first mountain bike, 1995.
Oh, awesome. Wow. You broke your cherry there.
Yes, I did. And I've also some back in the mid 2000s, one of those sent me to the ER for some stitches, and yeah, lots of memories. So then, moving back to Enduro, September 18th, Blue Mountain.
Nice.
A move from August to September. You know, we really like to race Enduro in the fall. It's just the weather's great. Just to be able to put the mountain bike racing in the fall. So September 18th, Blue Mountain, and then the following weekend, September 25th, Steel City Enduro up at Sal's in Bethlehem.
That's always a good one, right?
Oh, it's typically our best attended. I think we might have cracked 250. Got one last year, which a couple of years ago, I would have never thought we would see that in Enduro.
Yeah.
Our timers bought more timing chips, more timing equipment, and it's just been a real success story. In fact, I plan to head up there and ride that area this weekend, as a matter of fact. Just a great place to ride. Steel City is almost sort of XC-ish. It is a loop. You ride a full loop, and the downhill and vertical sections are timed, but one of the more fun and more easier ones. And
nice.
Then a weekend or two off, and wrap it up October 16th at Glen Park, the Fall Sender Enduro. Glen Park, a very Enduro-specific venue. We race there. Eastern States is there in the spring. They have set an all-time attendance record there, if I remember right. Glen Park, right behind Steel City with the numbers, but just the work the Pocono bike guys have done at that place. For those that have ridden there would know what I'm talking about. But it's perfect for Enduro. You take the same transition up the middle every time, and it's just lines to the left and right, rocks, rock drop, jumps. It's absolutely perfect for Enduro finals.
Good stuff. So I guess you've got a really good jump on registration for the series.
We are way ahead of the last 2 years. Now those were COVID years. It's hard to go back and compare back to 2019, but we're almost 250 total registered. And there's been a lot of interest on teams. We've opened up team registration. Those people are getting their teams all set up. So, a really, really good start to the year.
What's the skinny on the team situation and points, so on and so forth?
So to describe that, we've worked really hard to try to keep that close and competitive. So we do explain it more on the website, but the way we work it is we have a point scale for each finisher. And that point scale is the same whether you win a Cat 1 race, a Cat 2, a Cat 3, a junior race. It doesn't matter. You score the same amount of points. So it does not favor a team of all Cat 1 or all Cat 2. Really, it does favor a highly diverse team with a lot of different races.
Got it.
And a lot of
yeah, that's good.
And we take the top 10 points earners out of that. And then the team that gains the most points, they win that race. So they get 10 team points. Second place gets 9, and so on and so forth. So you don't dominate just because you won the race.
Right. You got to come back next week, and because you might only be 1 point up or 2 points up.
Yeah, if I look back on last year, we had some ties going into finals. I think on the XC side, and a tie going into finals the year before that. So it keeps it close. You know, there's no runaways, and we've worked hard at trying to keep it close all the way through the season. So like I said, it favors the team really that has a diverse group of riders all the way from juniors and Cat 3s up through their Cat 1s and even pros. You know, we have two on the XC side. It's really two team types. There are the open team is all riders, all categories. And then we have grassroots for the teams that don't have pros and Cat 1s. So we have two separate competitions. And that, XC is so diverse that makes sense. On enduro and endurance, it's just one open category. Whether you're a grassroots team, an XC team, you can compete across all disciplines. XC, endurance, enduro, it doesn't matter. Wherever your riders race is where they'll earn points.
50 plus sport women, that's points.
That sure is
17, 18-year-old beginner juniors. That's the same amount of points.
That's the same amount of points. Yeah. If you look at the teams that cover all those bases, the teams with a lot of juniors, and there's some big junior teams this year. I've already looked at the junior registrations for a couple of these new junior teams coming in, and it's really exciting.
How many teams we got so far in grassroots? Roughly?
Oh, I really don't know until I post results into the website and take a look at it. But I'm going to guess I probably got at least 5, and then probably 5 or 6 open. But it's hard to tell until we really get into racing, because people are still registering. The team captains are still assigning racers. So, and that really goes throughout April too. It's hard to really get a picture of everything and everybody until we're a couple races in. Because even if people register later, register their team later, I go back and rerun the scoring to include everybody. Nobody is locked out until at some point we do lock down that team registration. And this year, if we have finals in September, usually by mid-July, we will lock it down, because we want people to get a clear picture of what they have to do for their team to win, place, hold their position, whatever that might be. We can't keep adding people and scoring races they might have raced previously. That just doesn't give everyone a clear picture of what it looks like going into those last couple races. Really, we want a couple races where team reg is closed, and it is what it is at that point.
So if I don't register, and I'm not put on a team, then my points don't go anywhere. So I've got to register for the series and be put on a team roster for having my points count towards the grassroots or the open team.
That's true. So yes, you would register, and then your team captain, your team director, what happens is I set their team up, I give them a login. They log into the scoring system where they can see all unassigned riders, and they click them and add them to their team.
What happens if you don't have a team necessarily affiliation? So you just say, I'm registered for the series, and somebody could pick you up. Is that a possibility?
It is a possibility. It has nothing to do with what your team name might or might not be on Bike Reg. We don't use team name in Bike Reg at all. It's whatever a team captain goes in and assigns their riders. And they can do that probably up until early July.
So if the team guy goes in, say there's 2 or 3 team managers, and they go in and look at all the roster of all the people that are registered for the series, so they can cherry pick and go, well, this guy isn't on a team, and I know he's going to do good. I raced with him, so I'm going to ask him if he wants to be on our roster. Is that going to happen? That kind of draft?
In theory, it could, but usually, and I just go back to the teams I raced for, Track Guys, Trestle Bridge, and we had a process that you were committed to the team and you got benefits for being on the team. So we really don't have a situation where team directors are just cherry picking riders. Even though that is a possibility, Bill,
Interesting.
it is something that, I can see those rosters and, as the guy running the series and in the timing tent every weekend for the XC races, I know who is where. So
yeah, you're good at that. That's for sure. So how about this? So like I'm a new guy in town, or I just started racing and I didn't register for the series. I just saw about it. I go to Henry's bike shop or whatever, and they have a team, but I don't know anything about it. And then someone says, dude, you do it pretty good. You should get on the team. And he's like, oh yeah, how do I do that? It's like, well, you got to go in and register for the series, and then we can put you on the roster. So is that a possibility? And first part of that question, I guess, to you is, okay, do his points, obviously from that point forward, are they eligible to be on the team? But then is it retroactive?
it has been retroactive.
Wow.
Yeah, if they were registered for the series, well, actually, I take that back. If they raced and then registered for the series, up until we cut off team signups, which is usually early July, yes, we would go back and be retroactive.
Okay. Wow. So that's cool. So then I'm almost thinking that a really wise team director would look around at Fairhill or some of the early races and say, hey, that guy rides with us. We've seen him out here. I wonder if he would want to be on the team. He's racing. I don't know if I'm trying to cause trouble here. I'm just speculating because it's such a close competition that you might want to look around and say, anybody that we know that rides with us that's down here, we should get him on the team. What the heck?
That's true. But I think that what I see is that really the team directors, they're recruiting in the off season. By the time we get to racing, everybody's racing, including the team director. So from what I see, the recruiting happens in the off season for the most. I don't see a lot of people getting added late in the season and accruing a bunch of points. In fact, if it is, I take a close look at it.
Right. That's the benefit
really not fair.
Yeah, of you being the judge, and you look things over and go, come on, this isn't fair, guys. We can't condone this.
Yes. If someone went and added, someone who had won every, say, Cat 1 race,
yeah,
that's going to be a problem. So, and we haven't had that, but we keep an eye on that. I look at that. I load the results in every Monday or Tuesday after every race. And then I go look at teams, individuals. I try to keep an eye on that.
You do, dude. I've known this,
especially on the team side, and especially on the grassroots side.
Yeah, I mean that whole team scoring system that you came up was really nice and fair, and it was needed because sometimes in the old days, back in the early days, I remember that teams would jump away with so much points that it was a done deal, and it kind of took the incentive away from the rest of us.
That's right.
But that's not going to happen under your tutelage.
No, we've been tweaking this. Literally, this scoring system has been in the works since, I don't know, 2000, but especially the team things. And I got to give credit where credit's due. I believe the old Max Cyclocross series used to run it something like that.
Yes, they did.
I got some of these ideas from some other guys.
No, I was in that for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's a collaborative effort for if you see something that works. That's where we got some of that because there used to be runaways. You're right. When there used to be gigantic bike line teams and it was a runaway.
Yeah.
So
what's new and trending?
Well, I still think that the junior participation across the board, we saw a lot of that the last 2 years. And in addition to that, we've seen a lot of interest in some of those coaches for the pickle the nickel teams, the coaches, parents who just jump into a first timers or a Cat 3 race. I think last year was the first year that I can remember that Cat 3 was the biggest overall class group, I'll call it, where it was always Cat 2 for years, but I don't think that was the case last year. Now, we've been through a couple COVID years, so we were light on Cat 1. We were somewhat light on Cat 2, but the junior and the Cat 3 classes were huge last year. I mean, I look back at, just the start lines, and it was pretty impressive as to how many new racers were on those start lines. A lot of us, not every race, but some of us have the first timers class, which is really what we call a Cat 4 first timers. It's pretty limited. It's open men, open women, and juniors, and it's meant to give people a chance to try it. And it's typically designed for new adults and juniors that are either brand new or they might be racing, the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or Maryland series, which are shorter, easier courses. So this gives them a chance to come try what might be a somewhat shorter course. Big Elk has a shorter course. I know French has a shorter course. Gary might do it at Bear Creek. Gretna has it. So those have been relatively large classes at some of these events.
That's outstanding news. That truly is a nice trend. Yeah. That's good to have that foundation coming forward.
Well, and that's carried over on the enduro side. I think you see your more advanced juniors that really want to know what the next step is. XC is great. I'm enjoying it, but I want to go try the gravity-oriented type of racing. That's where a lot of that growth comes from. And a lot of it comes from just bikes being more capable now. You look at how many, trail bike, enduro bike, we've now got down country, which wasn't even a term a couple years ago. And it's just things are getting longer, lower, and slacker. And,
and still pedal very efficiently. So, yeah, truth.
Yeah, very, very, for sure.
Boy, that all sounds great. When we show up at these venues, what kind of vendors can we expect to see? Minimal amounts of food or more food than last year, or about the same kind of a thing?
Well, probably about the same. Each of us have our own food trucks that we want to bring in. And the food truck dynamic is actually pretty complicated. When you find someone you can trust, you try to bring them back because food trucks are highly sought after. And someone going to say a Phillies 5K with a couple thousand people versus coming to a mass race, where they're going to go.
Right.
So we all have those that we can rely on. I know French had brought in a couple guys that are not available this year, so they're searching someone out. So food trucks are highly sought after. It's tough. You got to work early, and you tend to stick with someone you can count on, so they don't cancel on you. But there are, in the same vein, there are a lot of food trucks that have went out of business, or people that have just pulled the plug on it because they went through COVID and it wasn't sustainable. So the amount of food trucks is not what it was 2 or 3 years ago.
Understood. And logical. Yeah, you would figured that would be the case. So, dude, I'm ready for the season. So, thanks for coming on the podcast, because I know we've been talking about it. We wanted to talk about it more. Still want to figure out how we're going to do the lights at the night race, but in addition to other stuff. But so do you have any words from the director about the season?
Well, we kind of ran through our sponsors, but I need to recognize a couple more. Voller has been with us for years. Jeff Appleton's local guy, local racer, rep for Voller, just super supporter of the series. I can't even, I don't know how many years they've been with us, but they provide our series jerseys, and that's a big sponsorship. It helps keep our series.
Seems like they've been there for a decade.
A long time. I've used their equipment, their kits going all the way back to the guys' days, and still have some of it. The thermal gear must be 15 years old.
Yeah.
You take care of your stuff, and their stuff will last forever. Lupine lights, obviously, we've talked about. Home Light is one of our sponsors. There's some links on the webpage. They are a nationwide internet realtor that helps people sell their homes quick. And in this day and age, more people are using services like that. So we're happy to have them back. And I guess I would say to everyone, just remember to support those sponsors that support our sports. That's why they do it.
Yeah, excellent. Those were good times, those days. I wonder if, I'm thinking there's so many events this year because, for the last couple of years, there's been a dearth, obviously, but now there's so many events. There's 3, 4, 5 things happening every weekend. I got to go through and pick and choose. I guess all of us are going through that.
Yeah, we are.
But that's why I wanted to talk to you today, because it's a great series. The way you run it is great. We appreciate it. And it's a lot of, it's good times. And, I look at it like this, they say I'm tethered up here to the Shire, but I do get out. And that's
what's wrong with that?
Right. I like the Super Series because it's like, okay, it'll force me to go to Iron Hill. It'll force me to go to Fair Hill. Not that I need forced, but you know what I'm saying? And then I get to go to Bear Creek. I wouldn't normally necessarily put that time slot in and say, hey, we're going to go ride, Brandywine or something. But if there's a race, it's like, okay, that weekend we're going to go ride Iron Hill. I haven't ridden Iron Hill in a year or more. Does that make sense? So that's what kind of motivates me. It's just, and to see the same people that I don't normally see. So if I didn't go to the race, I wouldn't get to experience that venue, but then I wouldn't get to see all the people that we've been racing with for the last 15 years or whatever, because you just never see them. So, yeah. What do you think?
I think that describes it. And, I've had people say, well, I could go somewhere and ride, why should I race? Well, here's why. And here's what we try to do is that when you show up to one of our races, we want there to be a like experience at each one. We want registration to be smooth, parking, registration, porta potties, timing, a marked course, awards, all those things that we all as promoters work hard to make sure that the experience at a mass race is very similar race to race. And no, you might not go over and ride at the Sizzler, the Challenger, Iron Hill, but when you can go over and race a well-run race with a well-marked course and good timing and quick awards, those are the things that all the promoters work very hard behind the scenes. You might show up and everything runs smooth, and you really don't think much about it. And we don't want people to think much about it. But people work really hard behind the scenes to make sure it is a smooth event. And that's what we try to do, is provide the same experience at every race.
And you guys have done an excellent job. Excellent job. And you've delivered that product. And in the background of all that, what goes on is I see all these people that I don't see but at a race. So it's a whole revitalization of just camaraderie. It's like, oh yeah, dude, I'm glad I saw you down here, and that's priceless. That's priceless. and you offer that venue. And then the other thing is, I think you said it to me one time, even if you say, all right, we're going to go ride Fair Hill, or we're going to go ride Iron Hill, because we haven't done that in a while. But the race time, it's cool because it's all marked and there's no stopping or you don't stop for anybody. You could just go and ride the whole route and just enjoy it. There's not going to be anybody stopping. There's mechanical, and you don't have to wait for it necessarily. You don't have to necessarily, it's that time where you don't have to necessarily go at the pace of the group, which, you know, it might be slower for me or whatever. But you've got you can really do the trails uninterrupted. Nobody's going to be in front of you. And does that make sense? Because I think you explained that to me one time, and I always think of that. It's like, yeah, I can go down and run that whole course without being, you know, without having anything to slow me down or detract from the whole experience.
Well, I think it's the social nature of seeing people. You know, everyone's on the start line together. Everyone celebrates at the finish. But when the gun goes off, we're racing. And at the end of the day, we do this because we like to compete. But it is very social. You know, I still race enduro, and you know, I would not drive up and just ride the trails up at the Raven. But when you tape off a course and everyone else is going and it's competitive, that's what makes the difference between riding and racing. And I think most of us that do race, you know, we have that fire that we want to compete. You know, we enjoy hanging out with racers and our friends, but we also still want to do the best race we can.
And so, yeah. And, you know, even if it's competing with yourself, I know I enjoy looking at my Strava segments from year to year to year to year, especially when I don't ride those. So that was my point about, you know, everything's marked. No one's in your way. So you can go after the Strava segment without being a Strava bonehead. You know, this legit. Now do it. So, and I love that, because then you can look year after year after year and, you know, kind of gauge where you're at and what's going on in your life. And you like that? Yeah, for sure.
Do you do that too?
Or is it just me? No, we all do it, right?
I do that too. It's funny you mentioned it. Strava's kind of been like a game changer. You know, it just adds something to your riding and maybe racing to a little bit lesser extent, but it has made things more fun for sure.
You know, especially in enduro, when you race enduro, John, and you go down through a run and you're like, wow, I took a different line. It didn't feel like I was going faster, but I, you know, took 7-8 seconds off. Then, you know, your mind starts to think and go, wow, that was interesting. I thought it was slower.
Yeah. It's a little different animal. Typically on the enduro side, you're up there pre-riding it on a Friday or a Saturday, and really trying to figure out, you know, what the line is, and where you can go faster, and what are the tricky sections. But yeah, agreed. So,
and same with cross country, same thing. You know, I love it because you can go, man, every year I take this stream crossing a little bit. Let me try something different, you know, this year and see if it makes a difference. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm psyched for
the promoters have done a good job of offering pre-rides of their cross-country courses. I think that's made
okay, I'm glad we got there. I'm glad we got there. I didn't, you know, I almost forgot to talk about that, but that makes a big difference.
It does make a big difference. And it helps to engage the racers too. Like George posted his course map. Now, you'd have a hard time following all that course, but people like to go out and ride that. And Strava is somewhat of a help on that too, but it definitely, everybody likes to go pre-ride the course. And I think that has helped with really racers in general being able to go ride the course and say, okay, this is where I can go fast. This is where I can recover. This is where I can get a drink. All those things just make your race experience better because you've pre-ridden it. And in your mind, you can play it over and over again before you come back. A lot of people GoPro it now. That has been a game changer too. You run your GoPro and you go back and watch it. And okay, I did this, I did that. This is a place I can go. This is a place I can rest and get a drink. And that has Strava, GoPro, all these things I think have contributed to a better race experience.
Yeah, better race experience is a great way to say that. So I know when we started doing this, we talked about this. You said, I'll send you an agenda, and I don't have it on my phone, but it was a really good agenda. Did we cover everything that you wanted to cover?
Oh, let's see. I think we did, Bill. Running top to bottom, we did. Yeah, that's
Excellent.
all I had. Yeah.
Excellent. Nothing left now but the shooting, right? Let's go do it.
It's game on this Sunday. I'll see you there.
Game on. Good discussion, man. I hope everybody benefited. The discussion about the team thing was critical, because I know I even go into the season early on and people on your team or other team are going, how does that work now? How did that point go? So I think we got a good chance to clear that up better than ever.
Yeah. And even though we explain these things on the website, I do get lots of questions, and I'm happy to respond to any emails, any questions. Just ask. Support at MA Super Series. Email me, message me through the Facebook group, Facebook page. In closing, I just want to thank all the racers and all the promoters, because it is a team effort, and we are happy to do it. We are happy to see everybody out there, and we look forward to it again this year. Since
right
2007 for me.
And I want to make sure I thank you. Just a great job, a great series, and it's just so much fun. And thanks for providing the whole venue, and thanks for coming on the show today. And so I'm getting psyched. We'll have to do a season wrap up as usual, but for right now, let's go out and let's do it. So
sure. We will see everybody out there. We look forward to
see everybody out there, and long live long rides.
Right. We'll see you out there.
All right. Peace out, John. Thanks.
Enjoy it. Take care.
I will. Take care. You do the same.
Okay, Bill. Thanks.
Thanks.